fellow Africans, the appointment of former President Olusegun Obasanjo is one factor that is disturbing millions of Africans who are not speaking at the moment. General Obasanjo has taken part in several peace processes on the continent of Africa. I have prepared a written text that will circulate, and it is on our website. But I will read one part of it to make the theme of this statement workable. Pan-African Forum states that the Ethiopian conflict has given millions across Africa and the world sleepless nights. The world is trying to see how it can help Ethiopia to achieve peace. We have looked at the American Civil War and how Abraham Lincoln handled that Civil War. We have learned some lessons which can be shared to many of the millions of Africans and Ethiopians. Pan-African Forum therefore knows that if you face a big problem, avoid making a bigger one. President Abraham Lincoln understood this version so well during the Trent affair between Britain and United States of America, which almost brought them to war. President Abraham Lincoln agrees, and God gave us a valuable lesson. Often, the conflicts you don't engage in can be just as important as the conflicts that you do engage in. The AU has played in the hands of the conflict of Ethiopia. Pan-African Forum therefore finds it and states that the Ethiopian conflict is a worry to the peace of the entire region. We have listened, and yesterday we listened to General Obasanjo while he was addressing the United Nations Security Council in New York, where he stated and admitted that indeed, as a special envoy and a mediator of the African Union, the window was closing so fast for a solution in Ethiopia. From his discussion yesterday and his speech to the United Nations Security Council, we are now convinced, and from the history, the intelligence gathered so far for over 20 years, we are now convinced, and we want to tell the African Union, the people of Africa, that General Olusegun Obasanjo will not and will never achieve peace in Ethiopia. In fact, if we leave the mediation in the hands of General Obasanjo, we shall have another terrible Yugoslavia with bleeding states within the continent of Africa and the Horn of East Africa. For those wishing and thinking that General Obasanjo can deliver peace in Ethiopia, I want to shock you that General Obasanjo, the son of soil of Africa, a man himself who overthrew a government before becoming democratic later, will only accelerate the collapse of Ethiopia. We have intelligence evidence. We have had evidence. Pan-African Forum has worked with General Obasanjo on several conflicts across the continent of Africa. We worked on the question of Taylor, the Liberian president, whom General Obasanjo betrayed together with Kofi Annan and handed him over to International Tribunal of Sierra Leone. We worked with General Obasanjo on the Kunda DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. We flew together to Ngoma. I initiated the telephone call on satellite to General Kunda. When we reached Ngoma, under the auspices of UN, General Obasanjo tried to meet Kunda alone until Kunda insisted he had to see Matsanga and others. The story, which I can't tell to the public at the moment, is very bad news for a leader and a leader of that stature in Africa. The question of South Sudan, General Obasanjo was appointed by Madame Zuma to investigate the human rights abuses when the Sudan war erupted. Millions, hundreds of thousands, over 400,000 people perished. To date, no report has been filed. No report has been publicly made. If there's a report that was made, was doctored, South Sudan is still at the fringe and the periphery at the fringes of war. In 2002, General Obasanjo, together with Prime Minister Howard of Australia, in Melbourne House in London, in my presence, President Thabo Mbeki, Mama Zuma, Dr. Matsanga, Zimbabwe Foreign Minister Mudenge, and others, Obasanjo chose to stand by Howard to put sanctions on the people of Zimbabwe. Another case is the case of expelling Zimbabwe from the Commonwealth. Most of the people of the Commonwealth wanted to engage Mugabe to allow Zimbabwe to remain pressurized the changes within the Commonwealth perimeters. Obasanjo stood on another side and allowed Zimbabwe was formally it exit from the Commonwealth. Among all these things, one of the things that very outstanding is the Taylor case, where he left us in a hotel. President Chisano is a witness. President Thabo Mbeki is a witness. And he rushed back to his country, where he had lied to us that he was going to take care of Taylor. And Obasanjo ended up handing Taylor to his co-conspirator, Kofi Annan, the late Kofi Annan. The two Africans have never solved the problem anywhere on planet Earth. They only solved in Kenya. Kofi Annan came and solved a problem, then took an envelope to the imperial powers that give them the mandate. Kenyans can be witnesses. 20 names were taken. They have a modus operandi of how they negotiate peace. We note, therefore, with great concern the way things are going in Ethiopia. As much as we call upon all the peace-loving people, millions across Africa, to unite and call for peace and dialogue, we want to tell you frankly that Obasanjo is a messenger of one of the sides. We are not against Obasanjo as a person. We have reasons, and we have very high intelligence reports that if we put it to the public, it will harm an elder on the continent of Africa. But we have decided for me to say the truth, and nothing but the truth, that has set me free, and it will set me free. There is another aspect that I want to address here today. The question of United States of America double standards. The United States of America has prepared, engineered, supplied logistics to people who want to take power in Addis Ababa. The United States has facilitated a 9-man committee in the US to openly regime change the government of the people of Ethiopia. At the same time, it is calling for peace talks and dialogue. What a shame to a country that should be telling us to seek peace, not war. As much as I predicted 2 years ago that Dr. Abiy Ahmed made a mistake to shake hands with the butcher of Asmara called Isaias Afwerki, I still maintain my stand that Ethiopia would have not gone to the dogs if Dr. Abiy Ahmed had followed what the other prime ministers had done before. Zenawi closed the border, cut off relationship with a terrorist. The other prime minister who followed Zenawi, a former friend of mine, did not open up any border and talks with Isaias Afwerki. Those who are seeking, therefore, to find peace in Ethiopia must first of all look at all the aspects, the root causes, the countries that have gone in to bring a proxy war, a war that has brought misery to the people of Ethiopia, a war that is being sponsored by the same Western powers that have fragmented Africa from time to time, the war that has brought us where we close borders of our countries in fear of the influx of refugees, the war that is going to make difficult conditions under COVID-19 conditions in Kenya, in Uganda, in Somalia, in Sudan, in South Sudan, in Djibouti, in Eritrea. The people of Djibouti and Eritrea, the people of Eritrea suffered crossing Mediterranean Sea, running away from a barbarous regime that harbors ambitions of terrorism around the region. Today, when you make Obasanjo, a mediator, a French mall, the chairman of Alcatel, French company, a life member chairman, surely. We are talking about leaders surrendering power in Africa. Obasanjo lectures to us about democracy, but he does not surrender the chairmanship of Alcatel, where he is a life member. Fellow Africans, we conclude, therefore, that the peace mediator, the AU peace mediator, in the Ethiopian conflict is not capable of resolving the conflict. Even if you gave him Sahara Desert and turned it into an ocean, he will never deliver peace in Ethiopia. Fellow Africans, that the African Union, therefore, send other peace envoys. There are other presidents on the continent, former presidents, like President Chisano, former president of Mozambique, who has delivered peace elsewhere. Like President Mahama, who can negotiate without any problem and taking sides. Like President Nujoma, who are ready, willing to walk around a long mile, and several other presidents that are former presidents, who can help the African Union to mediate and resolve the conflicts. The conflict of Ethiopia, therefore, is a worry to us. On behalf of Pan-African Forum, fellow Africans, UK Limited, fellow Africans, I want to conclude by saying our prayers and the prayers of the people of Africa is the conflict is resolved without much bloodshed. But with Obasanjo as the mediator, you don't expect anything coming out. I have a lot of evidence. I have personal respect, personally, but I disagree on methodology, substance, style of negotiations, and approach of former President General Obasanjo. He's very violent. He can actually box you if you tell him something. I've rescued a younger man here called Lenas Kaikai, who was almost going to be boxed up in Mombasa in one of the meetings. Is this a man who can be a mediator? I have stated my reasons, and I've told you there are certain reasons for security purpose that I cannot table to the public. After all, there is a saying in Africa that when you beat your son, you don't complete the beat. You leave part of the hidden mistakes to yourselves to sort in the house. I pray that one day we shall meet with General Obasanjo. I've sent him a copy of my statement such that he can read as he flies out of Addis Ababa or inside Addis Ababa. It is up to the people of Ethiopia to decide. And Africa, for me, I've decided. Obasanjo is a wrong choice for the peace process of Ethiopia.
Hi everyone, this is Mati from Addis Ababa, Meskel Square. As you can see, there's millions of Ethiopians out there telling the US, go back, do not get involved in our politics, okay? Ethiopia knows how to run a country. We're not one of America's state. We're a country. So you've got to leave us alone, okay? All these people are trying to tell you, we're fine, we've got a government, we're not going to compromise. There's no negotiation with TPLF. All we want to do is we can handle it. US or whatever, CNN, BBC, shame on you. This is Addis Ababa. As you can see, everybody's out here happy, shouting, determined to fight TPLF, and telling you, the US government, everyone else who's following this, stay away from Ethiopian politics. Just leave us alone. Hands off. This is Africa. You know, you think Africa is stupid, but we're not. We know where you're heading. So you've got to respect us. This is what everyone is telling us. So America, stay away from Ethiopian politics. We've been here longer than you are. So you've got to leave us alone. That's all everybody's saying now.
Thank you. Thank you very much again. Thank you, Africa. Thank you, all of you.